Hey guys, what's up? So finally another suggestion from you guys. A lot of people have been suggesting this video on my channel, so I finally decided to make it. Top 10 JRPGs based on anime series. And if you notice, it's not best JRPGs based on anime series. I didn't put the best word in it because there's a bunch of JRPGs based on anime that I haven't played, so I have no way or no right to call this video a top 10 best. So for now, these are just 10 JRPGs based on anime series that I've played. And yes, all of them are actually good. So let's begin. Number 10, Record of Loras War. Alright, so let's start with a hidden gem for the Dreamcast. It's also a forgotten action RPG and pretty much from a forgotten anime. Record of Loras War was a series of novels written by Ryo Mizuno from 1988 to 1993. Later there were several adaptations to manga, video games and of course anime. So since this was originally a bunch of books, why does it say that the game is based on the anime? And on which one of them for? It's got absolutely nothing to do with them. But hey, who am I to argue? Well, the game's about a hero who has been resurrected to defeat Cardis, one of the evil gods from the lore of the books, and therefore from the anime. So I guess that makes sense. In any case, let's talk about the game. It's one of those isometric action RPGs, very much like many older computer western RPGs, but made in Japan, by Japanese people. Okay, let's give that topic a rest. Is it good? It's one of those games that require a little patience before you can get used to them and start liking them. So I'm gonna say yes, it's good. Number 9. Inuyasha Secret of the Divine Jewel. I must confess that I have never watched this anime. Perhaps half an episode once when I was little, but never something remotely solid for me to even talk about the series. So what little I know is from this strange turn-based RPG. I'm pretty sure though it's one of those alternative stories or side stories just loosely based on the series, but I really couldn't say. All I know is that this game is pretty interesting and decent enough. Nevertheless, as you can see, you don't play as Inuyasha. You're this Mary Sue called Janice that eventually meets the original cast from the anime series and gets to fight alongside them. Yeah, eventually. To be honest, it's got all the Inuyasha atmosphere in the entire game. I know this because most of the time I felt that I needed to watch the anime in order to fully understand this weird game, so maybe one day I'll do it. Yeah, just in case. Number 8. Bleach: The Third Phantom. This is a game that one of my friends recommended to me. He's a strategy RPG addict, so I kinda had the motivation to play it, even though it's from another anime that I haven't actually watched. I did watch the first 2 episodes, and I'm sorry to say this, but I didn't like them at all. So I quickly gave up on it and moved on. But when it comes to strategy RPGs, I just have to give certain games a chance. Bleach: The Third Phantom was no exception, and I did try it, and even though it's a little slow and it also takes a while to get used to it, I found myself enjoying the game for the most part. Again, you don't play as the main character from Bleach, but rather you're some dude or some girl and you choose their name. My friend might have exaggerated when he said this game was awesome, but that was perhaps because he likes the anime. I'm not sure you have to watch it in order to understand this game, but I did have the same experience as with this Inuyasha game, so again, maybe one day I'll watch it? Yeah, I don't think so. Number 7. Zoid's Legacy. I've already talked about this game in my most unknown GBA RPGs video, and back then I said that it was pretty average, but I kind of changed my mind after playing it some more. I mean, it does get boring at some point, but the game's got a lot of charm, and there's just something about it that reminds me of the SNES and PS1 era, story-wise. I think it's a good game that most turn-based fans will enjoy, especially if they're into mechas and the like, cause that's what this game's all about, mechas or rather zoids. I know the battles might take too long, even when they're just your average random encounters, but you get used to it if you enable the idea in your head that the game's gonna be like this for its entirety, in a positive way of course. And no, you don't need to watch the animes or anything, since this game also heavily includes time travel stuff, meaning that even if it's actually connected to the animes, you will most likely be experiencing a story from, well, another time. Number 6. MS Saga: A New Dawn. I did cover this game too a long time ago, even though I've never watched or been interested in the Gundam series. MS stands for Mobile Suit, for those who don't know, and it's loosely based on some of the animes, but it's got a story and characters of its own. I'm not sure I will call this a hidden gem, since the game's very unknown, but it is still average, enjoyable, even if you're not into the Gundam franchise, which is extremely big by the way. The interesting fact about this RPG is that it is considered as one of the worst Gundam games ever made, since most fans were already used to the shooters or more action-oriented titles. Also, it was made with the intention to approach new fans to the franchise, but I guess it failed. Nevertheless, there are tons of other fans who did like this game and have actually praised it. I don't praise it, I don't love it, but I think it's good enough for RP gamers interested in mechas. Number 5. Magic Knight Rayearth. The last Sega Saturn game to be released in North America. Some of us grew up with animes like this, which were broadcast at the same time as many other classics like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, or even Ranma and a Half. At least where I live, of course. So to be actually able to play a game based on this anime was just awesome. Too bad it was released for a console nobody I knew had, one that just wasn't actually marketed in Mexico, so I never got a chance to play this game when I was little, and sadly had to wait until a couple of years ago at my friend's house. Thankfully, emulators exist. But anyway, this game plays similar to a dungeon crawler with some roguelike elements, but in truth it's an action RPG in which you control the three main heroines from the series. The story is original as far as I'm concerned, like a side story of one of the first story arcs in the anime. It's good, yes, and it also has a lot of charm and all the Magic Knight Rayearth atmosphere everywhere around it. Totally recommended. Number 4. Dragon Ball Z: Attack of the Saiyans. This game might actually be a hidden gem, since not too many are familiar with it. I guess a lot of us were waiting for years for a Dragon Ball Z RPG released in North America ever since we started playing games from the genre. Well, the dream did come true, as a classic turn-based RPG as a matter of fact, but for the Nintendo DS and without a decent marketing campaign. I'm glad I found it many years ago, and I have to say that I wasn't disappointed. Sure, I would have loved to follow DBZ classic storyline in a direct fashion, since this game kind of twists some facts within the story, but I can't complain. I finally got to play with Goku and his friends against the mighty Saiyans. You know, actually it's not pronounced Saiyan or Saiyan or whatever. It's actually pronounced Saiyajin, which is how everyone in Latin America has been pronouncing it ever since the translation has been made in Mexico. Fun fact, eh? Well, play this game if you're into Dragon Ball Z and good turn-based RPGs, because believe it or not, it's very good. Number 3. Full Metal Alchemist and the Broken Angel. I've never been exactly a huge fan of this anime series, but I did watch it all the way through the end when it first came out, and then last year I finally watched Brotherhood. But let's not get into that. I like this series, and I did like the 2 games that came out for the PS2 to North America, since the third one never made it outside Japan. So sad. Now, I know a lot of you who have played this game are going to complain about it, since it was met with negative criticism because of its many flaws, but I've played worse, and I never thought this game was bad in any sense. I mean, it's a hidden gem in my opinion, but perhaps not as good as some other action RPGs from back in the day, or as its sequel, ironically. Nonetheless, it's a solid game that is loosely based on the anime series. Again, it's sort of like a side story or alternative one that derives from the one in the manga. The script was actually written by Hiromu Arakawa herself, the creator of the series. So, despite its negative criticism, I'd say give this game a chance. It's pretty decent. Number 2. Full Metal Alchemist 2 Curse of the Crimson Elixir. Now let's talk about the sequel, which is far superior in my opinion, not only in terms of graphics, gameplay and improved camera movement, but also with the characters themselves and their new quest, once again somewhat connected to the original one from the manga and the anime series. In this game, just like in the other, you play as Edward Elric and his brother Alphonse helping along the way. It can be a hack and slash adventure combined with all sorts of alchemy tricks, classic from the Elric brothers, giving the game a solid variety of moves and skills. I'm not sure, however, I would recommend this game to someone who hasn't watched the animes or even read the mangas, because just like most of the games in this list, it does have a strong atmosphere from them. And since both games are not masterpieces, or since they're not that great, but hidden gems nonetheless, I could suggest watching at least one of the anime series first, and then play them, because they're both pretty decent games. Number 1, Fade Extra. Of course, I've praised this game a million times before in my channel, but that's because I love it. And also, there are some things that I haven't mentioned before. But first of all, it's a turn-based RPG with a very, very unique battle system that plays like a rock, paper, scissors game in which you have to guess your opponent's move to react with yours. Now, this game is not directly based on any of the Fate Stay Night animes, but rather it takes place in a parallel universe to the original visual novel. You can choose between a male or female character that will lead a servant through the tournament for the Holy Grail. Now, I have never mentioned this before in previous videos, but there's 3 servants to choose from who are not the same ones as in the visual novel or the famous anime, by the way. Saber, which could be considered as easy or the standard mode, Archer, which could be the normal mode, and Caster, who's the only one that doesn't look at all like the original from the anime, being the hard mode. So, looking for a game with a high replay value on the PSP? Well, here you go. It's the perfect choice since this game's freaking awesome and one of the best on the system, in my opinion. I'll never get tired of recommending this game. Seriously, never. Okay guys, that's it. I didn't include games like Pokemon or Digimon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I just don't like those games. Don't like those series, don't like those animes. In other words, I don't like those franchises. They're cool, I have nothing against them, but they're just not for me. And as far as I'm concerned, Pokemon started as RPGs. So the anime series is based on RPGs. So even if I like them, I couldn't have included them. Digimon I think is the same case. Video games came before the anime series, but I'm not too sure. And Yu-Gi-Oh! I have no idea. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time.